the government has been talking about globalization for many years. So in fact, the role of one of the role of our Enterprise Singapore is to encourage, right, and help our SMEs to globalize their operations. So our response to the Services 4.0, right, we have 5 objectives. One is to meet changing customer needs. And 2 is to create new value, right, and achieve higher productivity. So you'll notice that right now we look at creating value, right, and this will contribute to the expected value added of the industry that we targeted at. So and create and enhance jobs, right? Right, make emerging technologies more accessible, right, and create inclusive ecosystems for large and small company. So the ecosystems refers to the cloud system, right? Okay, and meeting challenges, right, of customer needs. We actually went through the journey of services 1.0, 2.0, right? 3.0 is actually the mobile technology, and right now 4.0. So we will introduce emerging technology, right? And we provide end-to-end frictionless and practical services, right, to customers right now. So this is the target, right, of Singapore latest blueprint. And for example, right, in the banking sector, so what it means by services 4.0, seamless services. That means the bank actually knows the spending habits of customer, right? System analyzes and predict it, right? As a case of credit over limit, and then after that they'll inform the customer and increase the limit temporarily, right? So this is all done automated lah. So um, as you know, right, the bank deal with so many customers, it's quite difficult to get a person to do it. So this process is actually automated, right? So I think they will use robotic process automation in the process, RPA. I think in the video we mentioned RPA. So okay, and servitization of manufacturing. So our always is that we source for supply, we do R&D, we make prototype production, and then after that we sell our product. So this is the traditional way, right? The new way is quite similar to open innovation that we talked about previously. That means to say that we specialize in certain services, right? For example, I specialize in R&D. So you provide R&D as a service, or you provide sourcing and supply as a service, right? Design or prototype as a service, production as a service, operation as a service, right? So again, right, the manufacturer can collaborate with different parties, right, to actually service the customers. So this is based on the open learning or open innovation concept that we have learned about previously. And 2 is to create new value, right, for higher productivity. So 9 innovative approaches is identified. So the details are all written in the publication that can be downloaded from my Padlet platform. Shorten the value chain, right? So when we shorten the value chain, right, the customer will benefit because the cost become lower, or the players earn more, right? Align prices with use. That means pay as you use concept, right? Converge the product. That means the product is multifunctional, right? Unbundle products and services. So instead of supplying product as a whole service, which I don't use, right? So you can unbundle them into components. 5, expand market reach, right? So one of the way in the cloud platform is to link with marketplace platforms, right? Unlock adjacent assets. So, for example, right, if the Grab, um, Grab provide transport service, right? So they only own some vehicles, but the rest of vehicles are actually contributed by the vehicle owner or some vehicle supply companies. So they don't need to own the entire transport fleet, right, to provide the service. Turn products into a products platform. So there is a trend happening in the last 2 or 3 years. I think more is coming. Connected peers, right, and also distribute the product development. So you can read more about this in the publications. Okay, and we would want to move re-engineer service delivery model to everything as a service paradigm. And we would need augmented workers. We would need machine automation. So, so as you see that from these surveys, customers generally do not like to deal with machines. They want to talk to the real person. Uh, uh, right? So then, of course, the worker has to be there to service, right? Uh, then we need to look at how to interface, right, uh, to get the workers to be augmented, right, by machines, and the machines that automated certain processes so that the worker can actually serve the customer. So this is the key trend right now. It's not that you say that, oh, I put in a machine, the machine settle everything, but the worker is still needed, right? So this is one assurance that Singapore government is giving to our workers union in Singapore. So otherwise there will be big strikes in Singapore. Okay, and to create and enhance jobs, right? Jobs will change, right? If you look at the World Economic Forum publications, there they identify a lot of jobs that are in demand and a lot of jobs that will go obsolete in the next few years, right? So, for example, right, existing role, IT project manager, they need to add this skill set of a Scrum Master, right? So that they can actually come out with, they can become an agile IT program manager. So they Right, the project manager need to use Scrum approaches to be agile so that they can ultimately come up with product or services in a very short time. Right, so it's no more take your own sweet time anymore. Front end developers, right, they need to include back end. They become a full stack developer. Uh, so of course this one is challenging, right? But if there is a codeless kind of programming environment, so it will be make things easier. Process improvement, right, plus programmer become robotic process designer, right? So robotics sound very technical, but actually if it's done on the cloud, right, and if it's codeless, uh, a person with a little bit of IT experience can actually do the automation process. So So these are some global surveys. 42% of core skills will require changes, right? 54% of employees will need significant skills to upgrade. So, so you can see that skills is actually a key pillar in Singapore. So later on, I'll share with you more things about it. And what are some of the barriers facing XaaS? So everything as a service. So these are some barriers identified. So this is related to service provider and this is related to technology providers. So in terms of in the area of origination, so there is a difficulty in finding suitable providers, right? Um, so So the providers are actually technology providers. So on the other hand, right, the technology provider has difficulty in accessing customers, right? So there's something needs to be done on this to connect these two together, right? So I think Singapore, they are setting up platforms to do that right now. We are not perfect yet, but it is evolving. So limited knowledge and unsure of a provider here, and then expensive due diligence on the customer, right? And legacy system is a barrier because they spend so much money, right, already in their current IT system. If they go on cloud, it costs them a lot of money, not to mention to retrain everybody. So here, customer solutions require integration. So if the technical, if the technology providers come in to do a certain module, they wanted to change, right, to add, to plug in into the current legacy system, there will be a lot of challenges. Because some legacy systems are proprietary, right, unable to scale, right, and be adaptable to future technology and changes, right. So unable, so for technology providers are unable to scale and gain network effects. So these are some barriers facing the everything as a service initiative under the Service 4.0, which I think we are addressing some of this right now. So existing infrastructure, right? So these are some challenges. Upgrade or change to one component affects unrelated component, right? So it make it less effective. Tasks within the application are highly independent. So it reduces agility, right, to customize solution, right, to meet changing needs of a customer. Right, in the video, right, the SME Jano actually says that, oh, to scale up, they just change the number from 1 to 3 to increase the capacity by 3 times. Right, so they develop, right, based on a cloud-based technology, right, and then they just change, and the technicalities are actually provided by the technology suppliers. Dedicated infrastructure per application. So so upfront cost, right, to change, right, disconnected back-end infrastructure, right. So this happened a lot in the retail industry. So when they go online after selling everything, right, then on the online retail shop, they do not know the stock level, right? So this is the thing. So the retail solution is to come up with only omni-channel that integrates everything. So but then omni-channel requires them to change all the components that they have. So these are some challenges. Okay, the design principles, right? So as I mentioned earlier, we are involving, right, a technology ecosystem, right, that's enabled by cloud native architecture. That means it's a true cloud architecture. So these are some design principles, right, adopted in Singapore. Enable access and provision of emerging technology at a lower cost. So if the cost is high, nobody will want to use it. So they need to lower the cost. So they need to democratize access of the technology, right, to enable ease of development and access. So that means to say that everyone is able to develop and plug into the cloud system, right, to do business. And the users are able to, every user is able to access. So this is some vision that we want to have. Offer flexibility, right, to changing customer and marketing demand. So as we change, right, the system evolve. Enable and promote conversions of different emerging technology, right, through innovative solutions and service offerings. So we need to converge different emerging technology. Otherwise, it will be silo, right, for different emerging technologies. Five is to provide a wide framework, right, of solution providers to help service provider identify technology providers. So the government in the latest initiative, right, is going to set up this network. I think they just announced in February, this month. So to develop this network of solution provider, as you know, right, solution providers, some are good and some are not so good, right? So we need to actually come up with a list, right, where they can identify good technology solution providers. Okay, this is the cloud native architecture, right, as proposed by the IMDA. So we have a multi-cloud system. Multi-cloud refers to different cloud, the Amazon cloud, the Microsoft cloud, the Google cloud, or the Singapore government cloud, right? And also component services. So they are going to break down from product into component, and they are interconnected through APIs. So I think this red thing over here, right, API, is very challenging. So if you are uh, in the IT industry, and most of you will be reluctant to share the API. So it's like a trade secret, right, to the owner of the software program. But I think this is the most challenging part. So how to come up with a shared API system, right? And of course, this will lead to cost-effective digitalization, scalable, accessible, and agile, able to respond to changes. And this will improve the digital business readiness and also help to augment our workers. So this is the cloud native architecture. Okay, I have this video that helped to explain the cloud architecture.
In this new digital economy, possibilities are limitless. But how can we be empowered to unlock the full potential of our tech solutions to better serve your customers? The answer is cloud native. Before, when we worked on ICM solutions, they were monolithic, which means one product, many functions, tightly integrated, making a small change a big task. When we go cloud native, we turn to component services and shift towards creating solutions by stitching different components that we get from the marketplace. Doing this allows the flexibility of switching out functions in a modular fashion to respond quickly to customer demands. This will speed up workflow, encourage efficiency, and give service providers an edge in product creation. By going cloud native, ICM solutions become more cost-effective, more scalable with customer demands, enabling emerging tech to be more accessible, and allows solution providers to be more agile to changing needs. Go cloud native. Empower possibilities. In this
Okay, the cloud native architecture will be the key pillar, right, in the digitalization process. So the fifth one is to create an inclusive ecosystem, right? So there's an example over here, right? The marketplace for healthcare and financial services. So the stakeholders, right, in this ecosystem, we have the government, we have the banking sector, we have the insurance, right, third-party application and emerging technology applications. So for example, right, say we need, say when you buy an insurance, right, or when we go to the healthcare services and so on, we need to check about our insurance and so on. So it's all integrated. So this infrastructure is already available in Singapore, and of course it needs to be further improved. So, and this will be the API that is mentioned, right? And this will be the marketplace where the components, right, right? They need to look at breaking down the various services into components. So the Singapore government is going to lead this, and hopefully they can get the banks, like the insurance, third-party applications, and also component services to come in, right, to participate to develop this ecosystem. And of course, it will be based on the data platform that's residing onto a public cloud. Some of them are on premise. So we have here, right, medical records, right, the hospital, government identify records, bank accounts record, insurance payment and claim, right, and also the third party activity records. So there will be building of new services, right? So we can actually build and do business in this marketplace, right? So companies can actually build their component and put it into this cloud, and then there will be data sharing. So actually, there is this PDPA Act in Singapore, right? That is strictly administered by IMDA, and it's very strict, right, in terms of personal data sharing. So medical record is part of the data under PDPA control. This identification record, bank account record is all under control of PDPA. So we need to solve the cybersecurity problem first. If we get hacked, right, it will be very disastrous. So this is one area, right, that Singapore is looking very seriously to the extent of our ST Engineering bought a cybersecurity company in the US some years ago, right, to strengthen our position in the cybersecurity. Okay, and the multi-cloud initiative, right, we have the different players, right, government, the ASEAN Financial Innovation Network, Microsoft, the Amazon stack, and the Google stack. So we hope the multi-stack will be able to communicate with each other eventually. So this is the vision of the cloud native architecture in Singapore. The Singapore government is actually very open with Microsoft, Amazon, and Google. They are collaborating very well to roll out cloud solutions. Okay, what is the impact on Singapore, on our economy, right? It creates a new value, right, in the services economy. It helps to create new job, right, new jobs. Okay, but of course the job requirements will change. Then of course the skill set need to be changed, right? So when the skill set need to be changed, they need to be trained, right? So we have a skill future program to execute the change. Okay, companies, right, on company create new value, right, and improve productivity, right. We can create new and enhanced traditional jobs, right, making emerging technology more accessible to all companies, whether big or small. Okay, so Singapore, right, has some competitive advantages. So if we embrace services 4.0, because over the years we have built to be a trusted brand in data governance. Okay, that's why the IMDA PDPA Act is very strong and is being enforced, right, aggressively in Singapore. Item 2, right, skilled service workforce that uses technology, right, to augment their work, right. Strong design thinking culture, right. We have a diverse multicultural society. So we are able to create empathic services for the global audience. So for example, we have Africans, we have Americans in Singapore, we have Chinese, right, that can create products, right, that suits the taste of the audience in those countries. Right? 5, strong ICM integration, right, backed by R&D investments to drive innovation. So R&D investments are done by the government most of the time. So we have the A-star, right, that hires about 5,000 over people to look at R&D, right? 6, right, the world-class connectivity infrastructure. So we, I think we believe that our connectivity is world-class. So that is important, right, to 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 sort of to support the multi-cloud platforms and cloud access. So these are some competitive advantage that we have, right, if we embark on this services 4.0. And this is the framework for action. So our vision is to be a services 4.0 hub. And the ambitions for our company is a launchpad for services 4.0. The ambitions of Worker is to be a competitive workforce augmented with technology. And for ICM, right, ecosystem, right, we will have a vibrant ICM where emerging technologies are made easily accessible by all in the country. So our strategies, we have 3 strategies, right? Digitalizing industry, we have integrating in ecosystem, and the third strategy is to industrialize digital. So that's quite interesting. Enabler, right, is we have talent, research and innovation, we have policy, regulations and standard, and also we have physical and digital infrastructure. Okay, so the strategic priorities, right, digitalizing industries. So we have identified priority sectors, right, for the sector-wide transformation. So maybe eventually all sectors will be transformed. Service provider to servitize their business, organization, workforce. So service provider, right, to adopt more cloud-native solutions and ensure to compliance with the cloud-native security framework. So it's not just a solution; they have to look at cyber security also, right? Integrating ecosystem, right? Developing seamless services across sector and enterprises by taking an ecosystem approach. So we will use the ecosystem platform. Industrializing digital, right? So the digital components, right, need to be linked up and industrialized. So it's just like when we industrialize our production before. So government need to catalyze build up of the cloud native architecture. So the government is driving it. ICM solutions company need to adopt and deliver cloud native. So the mechanism that the government is doing is to fund part of the operations, right? So the attractive part is the funding. So deliver cloud native solutions and comply with cloud native security framework. So you can see that this is very much driven by the government agency. Then how about the enablers, right? Talent, right? So to train developers to create solution-based cloud native architecture, right? And develop operations and using development operations and agile methodologies. Also, so agile training is actually quite common in Singapore now. So continue to develop emerging technology programs for students. So that will be the Institute of Higher Learning, right? Provide support programs to workers to be confident and capable of using augmented technology. So we have a very elaborate skill future framework, right, for Infocom and media, right? So training providers will develop courses based on the framework, right, to address the skill needed for the industry. So I will share more on the skill future framework on the third day. Okay. Research and innovation invest in human machine augmentation technology, right? Develop iconic projects and around application of emerging technology, and also provide virtual innovation labs to spur innovation. So the government again is funding a lot in this area, right? And participating agencies are the universities and the polytechnics, and also our A-STAR agency, the research agency. Policies, number 3, policies, regulations, and standard, right? Continue to review regulations to facilitate frictionless data flow. So I don't know how they are going to address the PDPA information, right? So I think some solutions will be rolled out. Continue to establish Singapore as a trusted hub for cross-border data flow and collaboration. So continue to review policies to include new areas in development of emerging technology. Okay, so these are the new areas. So you can see that there's a lot of opportunities in Singapore for IT, digital IT companies, or maybe non-digital IT companies or service providers. Okay, and number 4, right, physical and digital infrastructure, right, to build physical infrastructure to facilitate adoption of emerging technology. Some require 5G, so I think Singapore is implementing 5G, right? Investing in capacity and capability of data centers and hyperscale computing, right? So the data centers, right, need to have capacity, right? Catalyze the development of as a service platform, right? And also enable services 4.0 marketplace. So the last one is actually on cybersecurity. So this is the enablers. Okay, so in short, right, the services and digital economy technology roadmap can be summed up in this diagram. So on one hand, we are moving our services to 4.0. So on the other hand, these are the various strategies. So we embrace emerging technology. So we have a cloud native architecture, right? And then we build businesses and augmented workers, right? And also this will lead to an enabled economy, right? Enabled by emerging technology. So this is the vision that we hope to achieve.